Hello, I'm Dr. Sheldon Cooper, and welcome to the premiere episode of Sheldon Cooper Presents Fun with Flags.
I've always tried to fly an American flag in front of my house, but one of the things I've realized that American history is chock full of flags, not just the one that we have today. So I wanted to share a couple of them that I've been flying in front of my house. The Appeal to Heaven flag, the pine tree flag. The flag was used by Washington, George Washington, with a squadron of 6 schooners that he outfitted at his own expense. The flag was a variation of the New England pine tree flag. The Continental Navy, knowing that they were up against a great naval power, set sail with a flag that said Appeal to Heaven. They needed all the help they could get. The Gadsden flag, though in political circles nowadays representing people in the Tea Party, actually in 1775, Colonel Christopher Gadsden was in Philadelphia and representing his home colony of South Carolina at the Continental Congress, and he brought this new naval flag to the Congress, and it became the first flag used by seagoing soldiers who eventually would become the United States Marines. The Bunker Hill flag. The one I've got has the wrong color, but then again, Bunker Hill wasn't actually fought on Bunker Hill. It was fought on Breed's Hill. But the one with a blue field was the result of an error in a book that was published some 100 years ago. It actually should have a red flag. And that mistake's lived on till today. The Fort Moultrie flag of 1775, carried by Colonel William Moultrie in South Carolina's militia on Sullivan Island in Charleston Harbor in 1776. The Moultrie flag was designed in 1775 and flew over Fort Sullivan, later named Fort Moultrie. It also became the flag of the South Carolina Minutemen, and it was adopted, a modern design of it, by the town of Liberty, South Carolina, which is the one I have now. The Betsy Ross flag, we have a lot of legends in American history, and legend is that in 1776 Betsy Ross sewed the first flag. Later on, about 100 years after the Revolution was won, her grandson was telling the story, and there's no real proof exists that it ever happened the way it was told, but anyway, we look back and with fondness on the Betsy Ross flag. The Bennington flag of 1777 flew over the military stores of Bennington, Vermont. There, the American militia, led by Colonel John Stark, defeated a large British raiding force led by British General John Burgoyne in order to protect the military supplies there. And the battle was won when Ethan Allen and the Green Mountain Boys arrived with cannon and supplies taken from Fort Ticonderoga, which actually later on ended up in Boston and helped with the British defeat in Boston. The Green Mountain Boys flag, Ethan Allen, became a part of the New Hampshire land grant that eventually became the modern state of Vermont. He commanded a New Hampshire and Vermont militia brigade known as the Green Mountain Boys. I actually went to school with some of his descendants. A notable victory of the Green Mountain Boys, like I said, happened in 1775. When they invaded the British-held fort of Ticonderoga. Traditional First Continental Navy Jack flag, well, the Don't Tread on Me and Rattlesnake ensigns were powerful American symbols. There's no widespread belief that ships of the Continental Navy actually flew this jack. Some were simply red and white striped with no other adornment on them. North Carolina history, the Guilford Courthouse flag of 1781. Tradition tells us that this flag was raised over the Guilford Courthouse in North Carolina, March the 15th of 1781, under the leadership of General Nathaniel Greene. The militiamen halted British advance through the Carolinas and turned them back in one of the bloodiest battles of the Revolutionary War, fought right here in North Carolina, with the British losing over 25% of their troops. The Whiskey Rebellion flag of 1794, our first president, George Washington, called out 15,000 militia to protect tax collectors. As a result of the Whiskey Rebellion in Pennsylvania, farmers refused to pay the tax on whiskey and attacked collectors sent from the government. This is believed to be one of the first flags that was used in that protest. A lot of books on that particular topic, part of American history. Please, look this stuff up, study it, enjoy it, appreciate the roots from whence you came and where this country came from.